Enzo Maresca, a manager who has actually acknowledged that Chelsea are in the right direction in the 5-year project that he has actually signed for at Chelsea. Currently, things look great with Chelsea sitting third in the league and Chelsea above stronger teams like Aston Villa, Arsenal, Spurs and Manchester United. Now, Chelsea are going to have one of their favorite runs this season. This means that the games are going to come in thick and fast, and Chelsea will really need to win these games to ensure they secure the top 4. So in our video today, we try to analyze Chelsea's next fixture against Leicester as Enzo Maresca goes back. Now, Chelsea have had a very tricky fixtures with Leicester City, and this time Chelsea are heading over to the King Power Stadium after Leicester just got promoted, and Chelsea look heavy favorites for this game. But there's a lot of things that Enzo Maresca said at the press conference that I just believe that we should touch on before we even look at the lineup and the analysis for this game. Now, first of all, Enzo Maresca acknowledged his time at Leicester, talked about how he had a fantastic relationship with the Leicester owners and as well the sporting director and the CEO. He also talked about how he has close relationship with the players and how the players actually communicate with him frequently. Enzo Maresca also acknowledged that Leicester might know a lot about him more than he knows about Leicester, though I know it was just a slight jab because he knows that team quite well. Now, he talked about injuries, and one major injury that he talked about was Reece James again. So Chelsea fans, it's really becoming common for Reece James to get injured, though a lot of fans do not wish him the worst. But Reece James seems to have a muscle upset, and Maresca hopes that this game will be too soon for him, and hopefully he will be available for the next game. The injury does not look so major as it has been said in the timeline. He has also talked about the return of Jadon Sancho, and Sancho trained a lot, especially during the transfer window, and I believe he's one of the players that Chelsea really need to work on, and I believe that Sancho actually generated a lot for Chelsea before the Liverpool game, and again, this can be a game to actually bring him back and ensure that he brings back the confidence, because Chelsea will have more of the ball. Now, looking at another discussion that he talked about was the midfield pivot, being asked whether he still sticks with Lavia and Caicedo, because actually Lavia is fit enough to start this game. So if you really want to understand the midfield problem, I have done two videos on this. The videos are long, but they are very detailed. Long but very detailed. They will give you all the information that you need to understand each individual player. Please do not forget to go and look into these videos. They are very important, and they will actually help you to understand what Enzo Maresca is actually dealing with. Enzo Maresca currently has the second best points per game ratio amongst the Chelsea managers, and I believe that Enzo Maresca can actually increase this points ratio with the games that he has ahead. If he manages to win those games, he will actually even surpass Thomas Tuchel in that number 1 position. Before we even start our analysis, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. So let's look at the lineup. So in goal, Robert Sanchez seems to be Enzo Maresca's choice at the starting goalkeeper. Maresca has talked about this again, saying that only 4 teams have conceded less goals than Chelsea, and he has said that means that Chelsea have conceded fewer goals, and he has also talked about how Chelsea will still concede more goals. So it looks like Sanchez is there. Looking at the fullbacks position, I'm going to go with Gusto and Marc Cucurella. So I have realized that whenever Reece James came back, he disrupted somehow the rhythm of the team. And probably Gusto and Cucurella coming back in might actually bring Chelsea to the free-flowing attacking football that Chelsea had prior to the introduction of Reece James and Lavia, because before the last international break, Chelsea were actually scoring more and winning more matches. Now, the centre-back partnership of Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwill will be maintained. And again, Maresca has talked about defensively. And defense-wise, it's a collective effort. And because this game is not a high-intensity game, I expect these two players to play well. And we need goals from them, especially from corners. These two centre-backs are not quite great in attacking set pieces. Midfield double pivot, I'm going to go with a pivot of Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. As I talked about how both of them relate to each other, I did a video on that, so you can just check that video. But I am going to go with these two midfield pivots, but I believe Maresca will have to put in Lavia because to add those legs in midfield, because these two players have traveled back from South America, and there is some element of fatigue that Enzo Maresca might try to reduce. I'm going to go with a front three. I'm going to bring back Sancho and start him as left wing because I believe we'll have more of the ball and he's very good on the ball, unlike Mudryk. I'm going to put Pedro Neto down the right. I have seen that Noni Madueke has really lost his form, and Pedro Neto offers Chelsea an attacking threat down the right. Palmer retains his position as the number 10. And he needs that freedom so that he can be able to create. I think the 2 weeks break are enough for him to recharge and get back to his very best. He used to play with injuries. Leading the line, I'm going to go with Nicholas Jackson. Now, this is quite controversial because a lot of fans think that Nkunku should supposed to start. I do not object to your opinion, because also looking at the games, Nkunku can play. These are the games that I will start Nkunku, but the games will be so many. So there is a game that Christopher Nkunku will start amongst these games. There is a game that Christopher Nkunku will start, but for this game, Nicholas Jackson. Now we're going to look at delve into the tactical side of this game, tactically analyzing how Enzo Maresca can actually come up with something for his former team. He talked about how he will tinker a bit when he's facing them because he understands this team is created in his image. Now, Chelsea will most likely line up in a 4-2-3-1. Leicester will line up with their usual 4-3-3. So Chelsea will be looking to build from the back by either dropping both centre backs deep and having their full backs starting wider but deeper. Now, Leicester in this situation might either decide to press in their 4-3-3 or in a 4-1-4-1. We saw them pressing in a 4-1-4-1 against Manchester United. Now, how this happens is that because Chelsea will try to stretch the pitch, they will use their two midfielders in Soumare and Ndidi to cover the two pivots while Winks covers Cole Palmer. You can see the structure here that Leicester City employed against Manchester United. Jordan Ayew was the only one pressing, while Ndidi and Soumare were looking to cover Manchester United's pivots, with Winks picking Bruno Fernandes in between the lines. But Chelsea know how to play through this kind of structure. And one way Chelsea can look to play through this kind of structure is actually creating box-shaped midfield by pushing Fernandes high up into that left half space position and inverting Malo Gusto in midfield. Now this automatically gives Chelsea numerical advantage, and switching into a back four with Sanchez playing as a right-sided centre-back. Now in this situation, Chelsea automatically outnumber Leicester, and the goalkeeper or Levi Colwill can step out with the ball and look to pick players in the half space. And also considering that Winks is not quite an athletic player, Chelsea should easily play through him, especially once he decides to be the solo pivot standing between the defense and midfield. Now sometimes Leicester shift into a 4-2-4, and we've seen this even against Manchester United. Like you can see this clearly. Ndidi has joined Jordan Ayew, and Ayew has also dropped slightly deeper, and the wingers have also tucked in as they are looking to try and narrow that attacking line. Now once they do this, they now move to press aggressively high in a 4-4-2, as Ndidi has now joined IU and they are looking to press Manchester United aggressively with all the nearby passing options stifled and cut out of the game. Now, Manchester United go long and Onana's pass is not quite precise to get Garnacho, and Justin is able to win the ball in Manchester United's half. Now Manchester United are being caught when they are disorganized. Now Leicester can be able to play. But I have realized Leicester transition quite slowly. They don't transition as fast as I expected them to. If they decide to play with a 4-2-4, then Chelsea can again just move into a 4-3-3 or a 3 at the back by having Fofana also dropping closely to Sanchez, with Sanchez looking to play those passes, especially to Cole Palmer, who can be dropping deep and look to create that 2v1 situation between Palmer and Neto versus the opposition fullback. The pace of Neto is going to give Palmer that outlet ball because he knows very well Neto will get to those balls. Leicester City like to sit in a 4-4-2 without the ball, sitting in 2 banks of 4, and Chelsea automatically know how to stop this kind of defensive structure. And if Manchester United, a team that does not score a lot of goals, was able to play through them, then Chelsea will tear them. But do not forget that this block can also be effective because once they receive the ball, especially Wilfred Ndidi, who is a great ball winner, if he can win the ball higher up the pitch, then Leicester can have an opportunity to transition, and that can be very dangerous. Now Chelsea's gameplay in this kind of situation is to create side overloads. One way of creating these side overloads is that left hand side overload between Cucurella, Fernandes and Jadon Sancho, with also Moses Caicedo shifting to try and assist. Now this will drag Leicester's entire team towards the left, and Fernandes in particular can receive this ball in space and automatically look to play a cross-field pass, especially to Pedro Neto, or play a ball to Palmer, who can slide in Pedro Neto, similar to what Chelsea actually did when they faced Wolverhampton at Molineux. Now this can allow Neto either to drive in and look to attempt a shot with his stronger right foot, which I believe that Neto is much more lethal in that kind of scenario. Now that is one way that Chelsea can look to attack. And let's look at Chelsea when Chelsea are defending. How will Chelsea look to defend? Now Chelsea more likely might be quite passive, especially when it comes to pressing, because you know it's after the international break, you don't want to be quite intense with the players. But since majority of Chelsea's team was actually rested, then you expect players like Palmer, Jackson to be aggressive, though the game is an early kickoff, so you expect a bit of fatigue. But Chelsea can look to press in a 4-1-3-2 structure, with Fernandes looking to cover the pivot and forcing the play to be played out wide. Now once the ball is played towards this direction, Chelsea close all the central options, forcing Leicester to go long. Once Leicester goes long, Chelsea can win the ball. Alternatively, when Leicester have the ball, we've seen them playing either in a 4-2-3-1 with Soumare dropping alongside wings, and sometimes both fullbacks starting deeper and looking to overlap their wingers. Now in this scenario, Chelsea can just sit in a 4-4-2 and have their cover shadow defend those slight patches of play and look to hit them on the counter. Now these games Enzo Maresca has talked about, the games that you think you're supposed to win and then they end up to be banana skins. This is an early kickoff fixture. It is away at the King Power, so we are optimistic that Chelsea can win this game, but we need to do the job. Chelsea actually need to show up, turn up, play their football. Remember, Chelsea have not won their last 2 games. Enzo Maresca has an opportunity to actually sustain Chelsea in 3rd place and actually rack up some points against his tough opponents. What do you think is going to happen in this game? My prediction, I'm going to go with a 3-1 Chelsea. Leave your prediction in the comment section area below, and also leave other comments. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.